Hello, Miami. It's 305 Sports Now, your whole podcast and channel for all things Miami sports related. I am Will. The Miami Hurricanes have done it. The Miami Hurricanes defeat the Clemson Tigers in two overtimes by a score of 28-20. What an amazing game. Tyler Van Dyke does not play, so the true freshman, Emory Williams, gets thrown into the fire. And man, they protected him, okay? They protected him pretty much the entire first half, but thank God for that running game. Thank God for that offensive line as they literally manhandled the Clemson defensive line for the entire game. I mean, they really did push them all over the place. And drop your comments, guys. Please drop your comments. My voice is a little hoarse because I was just so excited about how this game turned out, and it was just a magnificent victory for the Miami Hurricanes. A much-needed win for Mauro Cristobal and his team, as they've had a rough couple of weeks in the ACC, especially starting ACC play. But we could put that a bit behind us, as this is a great victory for the Miami Hurricanes, as they were able to knock off a team that has bugged them for a very, very, very long time. A team that's been on the top of the ACC for such a long time. The game started out really well with Rashard Smith and an 80-yard touchdown run. I was glad to see Rashard Smith more in the game, because that's something that the fan base has been complaining about. Is absolutely true. The guy's an absolute burner. He's a playmaker, and he made an excellent play. Fumbled, pretty much at the half-yard line. Instead, I felt like he crossed the goal line when he was stripped. But nonetheless, Jacoby George picks up the football in the end zone. Canes get a touchdown. They get a great lead. Clemson balances back. Cade Klubnik was harassed the entire night, right? Although he had a good throwing performance, okay, he was harassed the entire night. He was sacked about 5 times. Ruben Bain had 2.5 of those sacks. Felt like he had more. To tell you the truth, he had a lot of hits as well. I believe he had 8 hits in the game. He had 1 forced fumble. He was just a flat-out beast. The Miami Hurricane defensive line is just beast ballers, all right? Beast ballers. The front 4, the linebacking core is absolutely sick, okay? That defense that Lance Guidry is calling, all right, and those young men on that football field are absolutely sick. Lance Guidry called a great game. They stopped Will Shipley. They pretty much shut down the running game altogether. Cade Klubnik, was a running quarterback, was pretty much in distress the entire game. The wide receivers were pretty much kept in check, as well. The defensive backs held their own. As it was true, these wide receivers are not as talented as the wide receivers they faced last week over at North Carolina. Miami, I believe, did hold their own. Their best wide receiver was their tight end. By the way, had to make some really, really good catches and basically draped in coverage to get those balls in the end zone for Clemson. So just a great all-around game for the defense. Feel free to comment, by the way. I'm glad to talk about it. All right. And Emory Williams just comes. Let me just break over the stats a little bit. I'm going to pull out my phone and go over the box score just a tad bit. All right. I'm not going to be out here too long. I know some may want to go to sleep, or maybe you don't want to go to sleep. But nonetheless, it was an absolutely phenomenal game. North Carolina falls as well. Unbelievable. Okay. They fall to UVA by a score of pretty much 38-21. Cade Klubnik went 18 for 34, 314 yards passing, over 9 yards per throw, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Will Shipley again, only 15 carries, 44 yards. The team in general had 31 net yards rushing. Okay, Cade Klubnik lost 27 yards of rushing by sacks for Clemson. All right, Phil Maffa, that big beast, had only 2.8 yards per carry, all right, as well. Miami completely big boy Clemson. 38 carries, 211, 5.6 yards per carry. Now, you might say, well, this isn't the same Clemson team as years past. Well, first of all, Duke's pretty good. Florida State's good. All right, so they lost in ACC play to 2 very good teams. They still have some, they have 4 or 5 stars on that roster. You always have a top 10 class, except for last year, and they finished 13th. But nonetheless, still a top 20 class. Double does his thing. All right. Jeremiah Trotter's beast. Saw his father play. His kids reminds me of him. So bottom line is, it's not a team of slouches. Okay, Clemson is still a pretty darn good football team. But the bottom line is that the Miami Hurricanes dug deep in that gut on defense. All right, and on offense, it was able to pull it out. Right, as well. Emory Williams ends the game with 151 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, that 1 interception. Jacoby George, there was a bit of confusion. Emory threw the ball like it was a deep post. and Jacoby George ran it like a go. I agree with the announcer. Jacoby George should probably, gotten in there to try to, at least break up the pass. But nonetheless, it didn't hurt the Canes at all. That one interception at all. Don Chaney has 17 carries for 63 yards. Didn't really matter. It felt like more. He flat out. I think he, punched up Clemson's defensive line pretty good. Again, receiving the football, Kobe Young 6 receptions, 76 yards, the 1 touchdown. Restrepo 7 catches, still got his targets. All right, 7 catches for 26 yards. A lot of short passes were thrown to Xavier Restrepo throughout the game. Again, the whole premise was have Emory Williams not make mistakes. Okay, this is kind of a big thing to throw, Emory Williams and being a true freshman against a team like Clemson in such a crazy atmosphere. They managed him well. Then he took some shots when he had him take some shots, and he was very successful. The 2 passes to Kobe Young, one that led to a touchdown, was flat out beast, okay? Flat out beast. So, I mean, it was just a good all-around, game, for Emory. He didn't do enough. He didn't do anything to kill, basically to damage himself, okay? He performed pretty decently. Would have had a lot more yards if Kobe Young holds on to that football, it doesn't get it knocked away by the defender. So let me get a couple things in there. Controversy, we probably should have been in overtime. That was a safety. I don't care what the announcers say. He had his knee down beyond the goal line. The ball was beyond the goal line. He was moving backwards. There was no forward progress. He wasn't trying to avoid going forward. He was moving backwards, trying to avoid the sack, and that's that should have been a safety. I'm really sorry to tell you. And another play as well, on when they broke up, I think it was the pass was to Horton. That the defensive back that got in his face, that should have been a taunting call as well. It should have been a first down. Corey Flagg got called for less against Georgia Tech. This guy was in his face mask for a good 10, 50 seconds and doesn't call it. I mean, I'm just sorry, guys. I'm a little hoarse. I was just so excited today. No, as well. What I also, I'm not gonna lie to you, I sit here happy, but I was pretty pissed off when Mario Cristobal let that clock run out. Now, my only criticism was the clock management towards the end of the game. I think, you bring a guy like Shannon Dawson, who's supposed to run an up-tempo air raid, the way they ran it, with Dana Holgorsen over in West Virginia and then over, in Houston. Same thing with Mike Leach. The Dana Holgorsen comes from the Mike Leach tree. So I expect, a little bit more of an understanding of a 2-minute drill. I do think that Mario wanted to just run out the clock and just go to overtime and play it safe, especially since we were, pretty much bullying them at the line of scrimmage. I think he liked his chances, with his defense out there, and also the fact that he thought his offense could punch in the end zone. If this would have backfired, the fan base would have pretty much gone berserk if Clemson would have come back, would have won that game. But nonetheless, Mario saved face. But I really didn't like the clock management. You run towards the end of the game, you run a 2-minute drill, in practice. There was lack of a 2-minute drill in that sequence, even with a young quarterback. Some quick passes could still help out a bit. You were trying to get into field goal range. Andy Borregales has a hell of a leg. I think they should have given him an opportunity to try to kick a game-winning field goal. The worst, you go to overtime. Okay, you would have ran out the clock eventually because Clemson would have had to use those timeouts anyways. All right, so that's my only complaint about it. But the defense was amazingly solid, in OT, in overtime, only giving up that field goal and then getting that great stop by Corey Flagg. Corey Flagg, I was so happy for him because he's a guy that in many cases I felt when he was, under Manny Diaz's tenure, I always felt that he was a player that was unfairly scrutinized by the fan base. Yeah, he had Manny's last year, there were some missed tackles, but I felt that defense was just missing tackles overall. Last year, he showed great improvement, and everyone said in practice throughout the offseason that he was pretty much the most improved linebacker in that room. That was a seasoned veteran. He's been playing very well this season, and then he comes up with that play to pretty much win the game for your football team. That kid needs an amazing pat on the back. I would say if you want to call a player of the game, I think the player of the game should be Ruben Bain because he was just so disruptive, at the line of scrimmage, against Kate Klubnik, against a very good offensive line as well by Clemson. I say he'd be the player of the game. But if you recall a hero of the game, I would have to give that title to none other than Corey Flagg. He played a good game at linebacker tonight, and he had that tackle because Kate Klubnik is not slow. Okay, he could get outside. He could have scored. If this was any other team, if Miami was a step slower, but he went. But Corey Flagg went pretty much from his position. In his position, didn't crash. Alongside the rest of the defense, goes outside. And is able to make pretty much the game saving play and wins the football game for his team. The Hurricanes could celebrate their first win in ACC play. Could celebrate, pretty much, their victory being 5-2, their fifth win of the season. So I'm very happy for the Miami Hurricanes. I just want to talk about the defensive stats for now, if I may. Again, 8 total tackles for Ruben Bain, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks as well, 1 forced fumble. The Canes in general had 5 sacks as well throughout the game. They forced 3 turnovers, in the game. They forced 3 turnovers. Clemson was just in duress, and I told you that you had to win. If you win the turnover battle, you win the football game, and that's exactly what happened. Miami did get a touchdown, off of the first turnover, and they were greatly successful. So that led to a lot. The bottom line is, though, you win the turnover battle, you win the game. Miami's 28-20. Clemson's virtually out, of the playoffs, of pretty much any hopes of ending up, pretty much a contender for the ACC championship. Miami will have to play, Virginia next week at home. Virginia just came off an upset against North Carolina. Virginia has 2 wins. Miami needs to be very careful that they don't have the same lull that they had against Georgia Tech when they faced them first time around. Miami needs to come out with the same intensity. I think they will against Virginia. I think the team will be very well prepared. I think we will see Tyler Van Dyke, and I think we will see, another Miami victory. I will not predict the score. I do think Miami could beat Virginia at home, especially since they beat Clemson and they have experience from what happened to them against Georgia Tech and saw what they did to UNC on the road. So it could be a trap game for the Canes. And then the Canes could save face and go 2-2, and they have 6 games on their belt. Bowl eligibility right then and there, something that didn't happen last year. It's already a step in the right direction for the Miami Hurricanes. Listen, whatever you want to say about Mario Cristobal, all right, and his coaching, his clock management, or he's not a good head coach. I know that's said a lot, throughout the fan base. Things need time. He's building a very good thing here at Miami, and he already has 2 signature wins, all right, as the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, okay? Something that Manny Diaz did not have, when he was coaching over here. Unfortunately, Manny didn't have them. Yeah, beat Florida State, but I mean, like, as far as getting to the top, and he beat Clemson, all right, something that hasn't been done in years, all right, and he also beat Texas A&M as well. So I think that's something that we have to give credit to Mario Cristobal for. He's got 2 signature wins this year, and he's got the team in a position to already make a bowl game, something they didn't do last year. And they may post a top 10 recruiting class again. Yes, first comments. Where is he? Show the comment. There we go. All right, Rom Caprotti, Italiano. Grazie. Yeah, Ruben Bain is a monster. Okay, he's an absolute monster. All right. Absolute monster. Over 70 sacks, maybe even more. I think 76 he finished with over at Central. He's an absolute beast. Congratulations to Ruben Bain. Congratulations to the rest of the team. Congratulations to the fan base. You guys deserve this, okay, as well. This was a great accomplishment for the team, for the university. I am extremely happy that this happened. I'm sure everybody is here as well. Over here at 305 Sports Now, over at 305 in general, Cane Sphere in general. And let me tell you, some big shout out to Coach Coop. Okay, Coach Coop, who drove all the way down here from Tennessee. You get to go home happy. You get that long drive and you get to go home happy. But I'm going to tell you, like my friend Will said, travel apps do exist. You can take a plane, a little bit down here. It's not a bad flight. Just saying, okay? Bottom line is, though, congratulations, Miami Hurricanes. Can't say enough about this team. Can't say enough about this victory. Can't say enough about the grit. Can't say enough about the coordinators. Shannon Dawson had a difficult task tonight. Making sure that his true freshman quarterback didn't struggle or didn't have a confidence issues throughout the game. Emory Williams, to his credit, made some beautiful throws. And especially in the fourth quarter. All right, he had one that was knocked away to Colby Young. Beautiful. Once he got those one-on-ones, he was absolutely lethal. That beautiful touchdown pass to Colby Young. Then that beautiful touch pass that went deep to Colby Young as well. He made the right throws. He found Colby Young, pretty much, I think it was a drag route on 3rd and 13, got the first down, able to lead his team when he needed to. So that's very, very happy about that, as far as that goes. If there's no more questions, no more comments, I'm going to sign off tonight. Everybody, again, congratulations. Go Canes. Stay safe. God bless you soon. I will be releasing another episode, part 2 of my episode with Q, early in the morning at 9 a.m., in which he and I talk about Mad Dog Russo and his comments about Tyreek Hill. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm signing off tonight. Stay safe. God bless you soon. If you like what you heard, please, hit that subscribe, the like, and share button. Bye-bye, guys. Take care. Go Canes.